Welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community Call, which is happening every single week, 8 a.m. Pacific time, except maybe on summertime and holiday time. We will give you advance notice if that will happen. Now, today is October 17th, 2023. My name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a Principal Product Manager in the Microsoft 365 platform areas. This time, we also have a great set of demos, like typically, and I'm trying to move the slides, and there we go. So we'll start with a recap on all of the different assets which are available, a bit of a look on the news, the latest what's happening on the news side, and also a quick update on the Microsoft Teams platform documentation updates. And then we go to the demos. And Nancy is going to start with an introduction to Viva connection announcements. So this is something which we've been teasing up in quite a few different blog posts for quite a few times. And Nancy is going to share how it actually works and looks and all of that with the live demos. And I've seen the demos, they're pretty awesome. Looking forward on that one. Then Dan is going to move into continuing his series related on AI integrations within Microsoft 365. In this case, we're going to focus on creating an Azure Communication Services Resource for your solution. And that's technically the Microsoft Teams Azure instance, so to say, which you can then modify and use for B2C communications and calls and all of that. So really, really cool setup. And that's part of the larger series, as mentioned. And then Luyao Wang is going to talk about Teams activity notification APIs. So now supporting new RSC permissions. What is RSC? Well, that's resource-specific consent. So you're able to actually have a bit more specific permissions, not just asking always the uber permission accessing things, and people are able to grant those permissions more efficiently in a granular perspective. So looking forward on that one as well. Now let's get moving on things. Quick recap on all of the assets which we have available. A lot of stuff is available. We have the community videos at AKMS Community Videos. That is our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community YouTube channel. A lot of videos. We're actually, at the moment, we're releasing roughly 2 videos every single day on average within that channel. So, and those are touching developer topics, end user topics, administrative topics, and all of that. So a lot of cool assets from there. We have our LinkedIn group for discussions and updates where you can share your findings and learnings. And for example, if you're blogging, please do take advantage of those assets, that location as well. We have a lot of open source assets available, but as it might be a bit difficult to find or access the GitHub sample or find the GitHub samples from the different locations in GitHub, we also have these sample galleries, which are targeted to make it super easy for you to find the relevant sample for you. And there's quite a few URLs to remember. Luckily, there's only actually one which you need to follow up on, which is AKMS/community/home. From there, you can find all of these assets and much more information around our community effort. We are, by the way, working on a new UI refresh on that site. So let's see when we can actually get that one out. Maybe by Christmas, but I'm not going to say which year. Now, moving on things. So we have a lot of different community calls available. So this is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly call happening every single Tuesday. On top of that, we have the Power Platform monthly call happening once a month. Tomorrow actually is the once a month day for that one. Office Silence monthly call, and then Microsoft 365 Power Platform and Viva Connection SharePoint Framework call. That's happening either bi-weekly on Thursday, so every single Thursday it's either one of those 2 calls, and that's happening every single Thursday, so 7 a.m. Pacific time. It's going to be Microsoft 365 Power Platform, Viva Connection, and SharePoint Framework with community demos primarily. So really, really good option to also see how people are using our platform and what kind of things people are building and finding around the Microsoft Cloud. All of the recurrent invites are also available from AKMS/community calls. And if you're looking for agenda details, you can sign up and register at the Meetup service. That is free. And then as we submit all of our agendas roughly a week before the calls, you will get notified on the agenda details directly within your inbox, which is a great option as well. Now, some of these calls have community presenters, and all of you are welcome to do those presentations as well. These are great opportunities, for example, to get to be an MVP, so doing volunteering for the demos, and then as an MVP submission process, you will need to show that you actually done some of the community work. So the call demos is a great way of doing that. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be only the latest, greatest in AI stuff. No, not at all. It might be something what you built for your customer, something you built for your company, or something which you played around building in a weekend, and you want to share your learnings with other people in the community. Great storylines. We're always looking to learn from each other rather than we as a Microsoft dictating you and telling you stories. No, let's learn from each other and the other people in the community. Good question from Cody on the chat. Sorry, started smiling on that one. Get started on assets on Microsoft 365 Cloud. So we have the Microsoft 365 Developer Program available. Please register on there. And we have a lot of free training material available from the Microsoft Learn. I should probably double check how many modules there are, because probably those are already outdated. We also have a lot of podcast and video blogging material available. So we have the Microsoft 365 PMP weekly show. We have the Mondays at Microsoft. We have the Power Platform Connections and the Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast. So all of those are available for you to stay up to date on what's happening within the Microsoft 365. Cool options. I did also mention already our sample gallery, where we have more than 1,760. So we're already on the last quarter, or on the thousands within there, closing on the 2,000 samples. And these are samples coming from the community, from community and from Microsoft. So everything found from one centralized location. Really, really awesome way to find relevant samples for you. Now, as a find a sample, it is typically in a GitHub, and you might be wondering, okay, I'm in GitHub. What do I do now? How can I actually use this within my tenant, or how can I test it out? That's why we have Sharing is Caring initiative, and David Warner from LA is here to talk about what is that all about.
Yes, thank you, Vesa, in Finland, live from LA. So yes, friends, Sharing is Caring. What is it? It is a program that provides hands-on guidance. That means that we're going to get into Teams calls together, and we're going to learn how to do things together hands-on. So for example, what is GitHub? What is a pull request? We're going to identify all those kinds of things. You're going to submit a pull request. You're going to get a badge. What is a badge? We'll tell you in a second. But it is a safe space opportunity for you to learn together with other members of the community. Now, we are scaling this, and we are moving into a time of the year that is historically pretty light for Microsoft in November, December, the holidays. So we have mentioned in the past that if you would like to help out, we are looking for people that would like to help out. Some of you have submitted that form. I put it in the chat. Please let us know if you've already submitted it. We're going to be setting up sessions. We are looking to scale this, and we do need your help, and we are grateful for all that you're doing. Now, you can also see upcoming schedules that we're trying to get scheduled. We had a little bit of an emergency in the last session last week, so we are rescheduling that. You can see them at ak.ms/sharingiscaring, and because we do have time coming up that we're going to be able to utilize for getting more involved. So do let us know if you're still interested, and we will schedule time zone friendly calls for all of you, because we know we are a global community. Now, once you do contribute, you likely have all been seeing some amazing badges in the community, things like the Pumpkin Spice Lotta Commits and Hacktober. It is October. We are a little over, thank you, Vesa. We are a little over halfway through the month. But there is still plenty of time for you to get that 1 month only Hacktoberfest badge. It is only available during Hacktober or October. So definitely go submit any pull request. Any pull request will, in our community of repos, will qualify you to get that badge. So reach out if you have any questions, and opt in at ak.ms/community/recognition. Vesa, back to you in Finland.
Excellent. Here we go. Awesome. Let's actually move in forward on the intro. So let's move into event section. So first of all, on the Educon 365 Educon, we have one of those events still happening this calendar year. So October 13th. So within this month, within a few weeks, we have the Chicago one happening in October 13th to November 3rd. Great option to meet people in person. This is a paid conference. Some of the events are paid, some of the events are free. Now, Ignite is also happening. Ignite is a hybrid setup in the end of November, or in the mid-November. And I think the in-person experience is sold out, unless I'm completely mistaken, but you can still join on the online experiences, which is completely free to get access and stay hearing the latest what's happening within the Microsoft side. We also have our April 13th, May 21st and 2nd, the Microsoft 365 conference is coming up. So this is a bit of a early warning and early heads up, but as people are doing their budgeting for next calendar year, it's good thing to know at this point of a time, so you're able to do the travel and all of that allocations within the budgeting, hopefully we will see you at the Orlando this time and in April 13th. Now, on top of these kind of a primary conferences, we have a lot of smaller conferences happening all around the world. And this is actually a really cool list. And this is taken from communitydays.org, from where you can always find the relevant events which are happening. A lot of these things are free. Some of them might be in online, some of them are in person. And you can quickly looking on the list, we can see events happening in Malaysia, in Brussels, in Pune, India, in Brooklyn, in Orlando, and so on, and Lisbon, Portugal, even in November and October. So a lot of cool events happening all around the world. Now, this week in the news, that it wasn't really super active news week, except on the Viva side. There was 4 different news, a lot of Viva announcements. The what's new in Microsoft Viva October 2023 was really the key announcement, and also the Viva Amplify actually went generally available, so you can find more details on that from the news side. And I think David is going to paste in thank you the news in the chat, so you're quickly able to follow up on all of those things. We're not going to list all of them in the call because that would take a bit too much time. Now, before we go to the actual stars and demos and group photo today, let's actually do a quick recap on the Teams platform updates. And unless I'm completely mistaken, Vachit is on the call to cover them.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Today we are covering 2 updates. First, the new Microsoft Teams client is reimagined from ground up with performance in mind. It's faster, simpler, smarter, and flexible to provide better experience for your apps and users. If you have an app that runs inside Classic Teams, the app will run in new Teams client without any issues. You can use host name property present in the Teams client SDK to know if your app is running in new Teams client or not. Second, you can now configure your app to fetch Microsoft Teams meeting transcripts and recordings in the post-meeting scenarios. Your app can use Microsoft Graph REST APIs to access and fetch transcript and recording generated for the Teams meeting that has been scheduled beforehand. So please go ahead and try it out. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please post it on ak.ms/Teams platform feedback. The link is available in the footer. You could also configure the RSS feed to get the regular platform updates. Thank you. Back to you, Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Vachit, on that one. And as we could, some of us could actually follow, already Todd and Casper and Jason were playing around within our group photo. So if you're willing, please enable your video and we will get you in this group photo. We'll capture a GIF animation out of this. I will not enable my camera just in case, so I will not pixelate this completely. It's not super precise today. Todd, your shirt is super squared, whatever that means. See? We still have a few seats in the room. We are not yet recording. Let's wait for a while for people to catch up. There's 50 seats in the room. Typically, we'll fill in this pretty closely. We're trying to be in the forest this time. So just saying, oh, that's a funny face in the middle. Few more seats, and I will start the recording in a second. Funny enough, Don, you're always in the middle. Last week, you were middle in both of the pictures, and I thought that I had a duplicate, but it wasn't. It was you just on the middle. Let me put the recording on and we'll capture a GIF animation out of that. So, and there's a cat. And let's do some hand waving, everybody. Thank you for joining. Awesome to have you in the community. Awesome to have you on a call. And cat is paying not attention on what we're doing here. That's really cool. Excellent. We'll grab a GIF animation out of that. Really cool. Thank you for being on the call, and hopefully we'll see you around within the in-person events as well, if that is an option for you. Now, let me quickly flip this back on the gallery, and then we go to the actual stars of the day and right on the schedule. This is good. So we'll start with Nancy, and then we go to Dan, and then Luyao Wang related on Teams activity notification APIs. But first, Nancy, an introduction to Viva Connection announcements.
Perfect. So we will talk about Viva Connections announcements. Announcements, as the name suggests, this is a feature which will allow us as customers, as companies, to send out important time-sensitive information to the employees. And we will have announcements as a new section shown in Viva Connections. So whether you're on mobile, whether you're on tablet, whether you're on desktop, we will have the announcements show up on top of the page. So I have a few screenshots here. So on mobile, it shows up on the top as a small banner, and then similarly on desktop, we'll look at the tablet recording in a bit, so we should also see that. So an author would be able to create an announcement either from a SharePoint home site or from Viva Connections desktop. And once they are ready to publish, once they go through the authoring flow, which we'll see in a bit in the demo time, once they select the title, the content that needs to go out in the announcement, and once they have selected the audience for which this announcement is meant, they would be able to send this out to the target audience. It shows up as we just talked about, it shows up in Viva connections on all the 3 platforms. So if the user's on a mobile or tablet, we will also have a notification associated with it so that the employee can go and click on the notification and find the announcement right where they have their Viva Connections app installed. So this is a quick few snapshots of how the authoring flow will look like, but we'll just get to it in a bit. And here I have 2 recordings. One is for mobile and the other one is for tablet. Desktop is the one which we'll see in real time. So on mobile, I will let this play. So we're loading Viva Connections app and we are seeing announcements on top. There's a carousel treatment on the top and the user should find all the announcements on top. Once they're done scrolling, there's a see all treatment at the end. User can tap into a particular announcement and read more. They can either dismiss the announcement if it is a dismissible announcement, or they can just simply close the announcement. Once they click see all, user can find all the past announcements. So Carousel actually loads top 5 announcements most recently pushed out, sent out. But in the see all, you would be able to find all previous announcements as well. The ones which are active, the ones which are dismissed. To find announcements, we had the see all button at the end of the carousel. There's also a view announcements button that shows up on the dots on top right. So we just saw that in the video. Next, we'll see how this experience shows up on tablet. So I'll quickly play that. Very similar. On top, we see announcements show up in the carousel. We have a similar see all treatment. We can tap onto any of the announcement and read more information about the announcement. Actually, a good feature to also talk about is the call to action. So in the announcement, when we look at the authoring flow just in a bit, when we're authoring on the desktop, the author can also provide a call to action in case there's a training coming up and there's a sign up link that can be added and the user can click on that. That's the notification. User can click on the notification and find the announcement. And now is the demo time. So I have a demo tenant set up. And I'm on the home side of my demo tenant. And on the home side, under the plus new button, I have announcement show up. I can enter all the important titles. Then I can have a message associated with it. I can select a target audience. I can also benefit from a scheduling feature if I like to. If I want to send out this announcement in future, that's an option. I'm not choosing to do that right now because I want to show how this shows up in Viva Connections right now. But along with the authoring flow, we also have a concept of end date. We do not want the same announcement to show up forever. So we suggest authors to come up with an end date, which is in the next 2 weeks of when the announcement is sent out, either now or in the future. So for now, I'm just keeping it as what is suggested, which is 1 week out. I have options, more options here. So what we were just talking about, having an option to click, add a link, which the users can click. So in case there's a survey that I want users to click or have a link to, I can provide a link to that. And I can also make the announcement dismissible if I want to. So they can dismiss it and come back to it later if they are interested. At this point, I can either save my announcement or I can hit next. I can review all the details and I am ready to send my announcement. I can go to viewing all announcements from here. So this is the managing announcements control. I can go back and see all the announcements that I've authored. I can make edits if I need to. I can also delete announcements if I'm interested in. If there's a saved draft announcement, I can find it here and I can hit publish from here. Other than that, I also have my Connections app load up in Teams. So I will quickly refresh that and see if my announcements show up here. So this was the announcement we created. It shows up on top of my Connections app. I can similarly click see all, find all the active announcements, dismissed announcements. I can dismiss this one if I'm interested in, and it shows up on the dismiss tab. I can also author an announcement from Viva Connections desktop. So if I click announcement from the top right menu, I come back to managing my announcement and I can click new announcement, same flow. I can create another announcement and it will show up in all the 3 places, desktop, mobile, and tablet. So that's pretty much it for the demo. Any questions, anything that I should repeat or we should see again?
That was really good. So as we have a few minutes, I will ask a few questions. There was a question related to multilingual support on this one, showing you a few difficult ones. Is there a multilingual support coming or in the roadmap?
So it's on the roadmap. That's a great question. This is something we are planning to work on once we release announcements. So it's on the deck for next semester, which is early next year.
Yep. Early next year, so that's good. Or next year, first half of the next year is good. And then there was a question related on APIs. Can we do this programmatically?
So we are working on providing extensibility options. Again, that's on the backlog.
Yeah. In the roadmap will be coming definitely. Behind the scenes, it's the Pages technology. So there's no rocket science if you are in the SharePoint. So how it actually works. And maybe the last one, which is really good from Janko, from a timing perspective, we need to move to another demo and then let's cover the other ones in the chat. But Janko had a really good one. Do I see it also in a normal SharePoint home? Will there be a web part which will expose this announcement there?
Not yet. That's an ask we have heard frequently from our customers. So we are again, that's on the backlog. In the current feature scope, it's going to be visible only in Viva Connections, but we are working and we are iterating on how we will surface this on a home site or if this needs to be exposed as a web part. So again, we are thinking about it, but nothing on nothing available right away.
Cool. That's good. And then there was a quick notice from Jim related on toast notifications on mobile and tablet. And answer is yes, you will have a toast notifications in the mobile and and tablets, which is good. And that the feature is primarily in the first release, and this is a version 1, just iterating what Nancy was saying. This is the first version. It's it's night polish UI for handling and processing and also seeing the things. It's targeted for frontline workers, so of course it will be visible in a desktop experience as well, but it will be only the first version. So there's a lot of innovation coming up on the Viva connection also in the future. One step at a time. I know that there's immediately when we show some of these things, it's like, oh, I want to have that and that and that and that and that feature. And yes, we listen, we collect the feedback, and definitely keep on investing there. But thank you, Nancy, for this one. Really cool, awesome demo and great feature. Highly requested feature for sure for mobile and tablets, and of course for desktop as well. So thank you, Nancy, on this one. Now, time to move forward. Thank you. Next on the demo queue, we have Dan, and continuing his storyline with the AI integration in Microsoft 365.
All right. Well, it's great to be back with everyone. I think we're on session 6 of our multi-part series. And if you're new to this, I'll talk about what we've covered because all that's been recorded. You can get to it. But really the goal of this set of sessions is to get you exposed or to think about what are some other things I could add into, for instance, a line of business application that would really take it to the next level for your customers, your users, or whoever is integrating with that app. Now, this one is going to be about communication. We're going to have 3 sessions in a row on communication, but let me walk you through where we're at, kind of where we're going, and those type of things here. So with this one, we're going to talk about something called Azure Communication Services. And if you happen to join the call way back at the beginning of the year, I was on that call as well talking about this, but we're going to talk about 3 new things that I didn't cover in that particular call. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how would you get started with this? Like, what is it? What does it offer? Those type of things. But before I go into that, let me show you sort of where are we in the roadmap of this series. So we just wrapped up our AI part of the app, and we walked through all the things you'll see here. And I want to give a quick shout out to Aicha Bosch, my colleague, who I love to work with. She's great. She actually covered the last 2, which was super helpful because I was out on vacation for one of those. So I appreciate Aicha stepping in to cover completions. And then last week, she went into what if you have your own data, documents like PDF documents, Word documents, things like that. How could you get data from those and do kind of a chat GPT style against those? So if you're interested, those are all in our past recordings. Now, here's where we are today, though. We're now going to switch gears from the AI aspect into communication features. And I'll have to admit, this is one of those things I could name many apps back in my consulting days where I wish I would have had some of these features. It really would have taken some of these apps to the next level. One of those was a payroll app. And on that payroll app, there was 2 people that worked on it to get the payroll in. I think it was every 2 weeks. And what they had to do when they had discrepancies was to actually call out to the field reps and get in touch with them. Well, that meant, you're in the app, you have a phone, you got to do your normal thing. Well, what if we could embed some of that in the app? Or what if you could just send an SMS message or an email message directly from the app? So we're going to talk about those type of things here. And we'll start off with just how do you get started with Azure Communication Services. Now, moving forward, once we get through communication, we're going to jump back into bringing organizational data into your apps. And this will be all about some different Microsoft Graph and Microsoft Graph Toolkit features. I'll cover that coming up, and I'll have some special guests, at least I hope I will, for some of these sessions as well. So with that, let's talk about Azure Communication Services. If you're new to this, it's been out for quite a while now. It's actually built on top of the foundation of Teams. So when I talk about doing things like calling or integrating with audio video or things along those lines, it's all Teams based under the covers. It's same infrastructure. Now, what I'm going to show you to start is kind of how this fits into the actual app itself. So this is the app we've been working with throughout the series, and it has, again, 3 main kind of pillars. It has the AI features, communication features, and organizational data. Now, for the ones we're going to be talking about the next 3 sessions here, if I go to Contact Customer, you'll see Call Customer. Now, this is actually going to allow me to make a phone call directly from the app. Now, of course, it does assume that your user has access to a microphone, as an example. I've already approved that in my browser, but normally when I first hit call here, it'll actually prompt you, usually over the left, depending on your browser, for is it okay to access the microphone? Assuming they say okay, they can make the call. Now, this is a fake number. These are the type of numbers you'll see in movies and things like that. But I've hard-coded my number into this. So we're going to do a live call to me, and we'll hope it works. So let's go ahead and do that. And it'd be a little hard probably to see my what's going on my screen here. But let me see if my phone, there we go. I don't know if you can see that. It's going to be a little small, but hey, I got a phone call and I could actually answer it and get lots of echo because it would literally be me talking to myself. But that's the type of thing you can do. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about in this series is email and SMS. So this is an example that we covered in a previous session on generative AI. And so if we were to come in and say order is delayed 2 days, and then generate, this is actually going to go out to Azure OpenAI and generate a sample email and a sample SMS message. Now, we're going to be talking about both these, but I could actually send myself a text message. Very exciting to send yourself, messages. But we're going to see how can we do that in the upcoming sessions. And we'll talk about the SMS and the email angle to that. All right, so from there, what I want to jump into is how would you get started with this? What is ACS first off? Well, I want to go over to a link here. In fact, let me just throw this in the chat while I'm thinking about it. And there we go. So this is what's called the ACS UI library. Now, we're not going to be using this for the next 3 sessions. I'm going to be talking about the phone calling, the SMS, the email. But I just want to show you what's kind of possible here. So if I come on down to the left, you're going to notice these call composites, call with chat composite, call composite, chat composite, and then there's some UI components down here. Now, what this allows you to do is exactly what you see in the screen. If you have a custom app and you want to embed audio video calling into that app, either from the app to another person in the app or into a Teams meeting, you can actually do that with ACS. That's one of the things you could do. If you wanted to add chat functionality into an app, you could also do that with ACS. And the list goes on. You could add phone calls, SMS, email, and there's even a few other features. So that's some of the things you can do. And if you're interested, you can actually play with this directly in the browser. If I go to this basic example, they'll actually provide an overview of what you're going to do and even show some code. But if I go to preview and then go to set up what's called an ACS resource in the Azure portal or through the CLI, I could actually try out the audio video calling right here in the browser. It's kind of like, look, Mom, no code. Pretty cool. Now, we're not going to have time to do that today because I'm going to show you some other things. But I just wanted to kind of set the foundation for what is ACS all about. All right, so let's go back. And what I want to do now is jump over to the Azure portal. Now, I've already created this little ACS demos Wahlin here, but if I wanted to get started, we could, of course, come up top and we could just type Azure Communication or just Communication. And you'll see Communication Services right here. Super, super easy to set this up. So if we go to this, you can see my existing one, but we can do the normal create, and then we just walk through the screen. And really all you have to do is fill in these things here. In the instance of time, the worrying about time, I'm not going to worry about this aspect, but that's what you would do right here. Now, if we go back, though, to my already set up one, this is actually what you would see. So you'll notice I get an endpoint. And then if I scroll down, you're going to notice there's some really cool stuff in here. Phone numbers. So I actually have a phone number set up. It's a toll-free number that could be used to send out things like SMS messages. Or if I'm making a call to a phone, where's that coming from? Well, I can have my own phone number. And so you can go in and actually set that up. I'll show you real quick. I just have a throwaway number here. And this number, if I remember right, I think it costs about $2 a month to have one of these numbers. At least mine is. Yeah, $2 a month right there. But if I hit get right here, you could actually go set up a phone number. Now, you can also go in and you can use, there's a brand new feature in preview where normally when you send an SMS message, like I have it set up for credit cards, and anytime a credit card charge comes in, I get an SMS message. But for most of the banks, the number coming in is one of those just short code numbers. It's not very friendly. You can actually set up an alphanumeric one. And so you could come in, for instance, and Contoso is something you could set up so that when people get the text, they actually realize instantly, oh, that's from that company. So that's another new option you can do. Now, you can also come in and set up email. That's what we're going to look at a little bit later. And there's even some other features. We won't have time to cover all these, but we're going to cover those main three: the phone, the SMS, and the email. All right, so that's all you would do to get started. Now, in order to do some of this, you do need a token. All right, so let me jump over to the code, and I'm going to show you for this particular instance here where I called myself. And I'm going to do it one more time here just to show you so you can remember. And then but I have a missed call from that number. You probably can't see this, but there we go. So there, it's calling me again. I'm going to, in fact, you know what I could do? Let me hang up, and it should go to voicemail. You see if it. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna talk over that because if you could hear that at all through the mic, that would be my number, which you're all my best friends, but I probably don't want to give that out publicly. But to do that type of thing, and that's what we're going to look at in the next couple of sessions, we can do the following. We can actually start a call, and then notice on the call here, I have a customer phone number. Now, I hard-coded mine, so I'm not going to mouse over that. I might have been in a presentation before where I accidentally moused over that, and 1,000 people got to see it was actually my wife's phone number. Don't do that at home, folks. Didn't end well. No, we worked it all out. It was fine. But I did a live demo where I actually called my wife, and I accidentally moused over it, and the whole crowd saw it. But luckily, it's been fine. So what this will do, though, is you can have this thing called a call agent. And the call agent can then be used to start a call, and then you have your phone number. Now, that's all I'm going to talk about right now because, we're going to have some other sessions on this. So what I want to wrap up with is, what would you do to get started with this? Like, where would you go? Well, of course, you can go to the docs, and you could read about Azure Communication Services. In fact, let me just do that real quick. Let's go to Learn. And we'll just type Azure Communication Services. I do want to highlight one thing here. It is really, really easy to get started with this. So if you go down to the left, you'll see fundamentals, but keep on scrolling to the quick starts. And notice on the quick starts, there's SMS, shows you how to get a phone number. I'm going to be walking you through that. Here's phone calling, and there's quite a few you'll see on this, multiple languages, all that fun stuff. I'm going to be showing TypeScript, but you'll see you can do it in all kinds of languages if you wanted to add phone calling into an app. But if we scroll on down here, once we get past some of the token stuff, they'll talk about how you set up a connection string. And so one of the things you'll be doing with ACS is, if we go back into our keys here, you'll notice I have a connection string. And if you work with much in Azure or other services across Microsoft Cloud, you're pretty used to this, right? Well, that's something that would come into play. But when you're doing this from the client side, depending on the feature you're doing, you probably don't want to share that to the client. In fact, this app is a JavaScript app, TypeScript app. Don't want to share a connection string there, right? So for some features, you'll make an API on the server side. And of course, that's where you'll get access to the connection string. Now, for the phone calling, there's a different way we can do it, though. And I'm going to save that for one of the upcoming sessions. So with that, I hope that gives you an idea about what we're going to be talking about in these next few sessions with Azure Communication Services. If you're interested, you can check out this tutorial that we have. This not only walks you through what the communication features are, but you'll notice up here on the left, it also has all the AI features. So we'll walk you through everything from setting up the model to using natural language to SQL, and we'll talk about the gotchas there. generating completions, and even bringing your own data, your own documents into that. And then, of course, we're now focused on these three areas here. Next session will be on making a phone call, and we'll dive more into that code and see how that works. So if you're interested, you can either scan the code here if you'd like, or check out this link down here at the bottom. That'll take you to the tutorial. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Vesa, but we'll see you next week. We'll talk a little more detail about the phone calling feature.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan, on that one. Awesome stuff. That is a really great solution demo. So great work on that. One step at a time, learning those awesome features. Now, let's then move into the Teams activity notification APIs, now supporting new RSC permissions. And Luyao Wang is here to present this one. Hey.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Really love the energy here. So I'm going to share my screen and make sure I share my audio as well, because I will have a demo with the voiceover. Cool. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Luyao Wang. I'm a product manager in Teams Graph team. So first of all, how do you know this session is for you? If you are a developer or a stakeholder of a Teams app, that you are trying to make your app being more collaborative, you are trying to improve your user engagement and retention, or you're just trying to explore the ways to send your user notifications, this session is for you. So let me go to this full screen mode. Cool. I'm Luyao, a product manager in Teams Graph team. I focus on notification APIs. Do you know that activity notification improve user engagement and retention in Teams? So today we're going to cover a couple of things. First, we're going to show you what are the Teams activity notifications APIs, because you might need some more context to get started. And then we'll show you a demo of the new RSC permission. We'll also talk about what is RSC, so to give you full context on that. And then next, we'll talk about why you should consider using notification for your Teams app. And then, last but not least, if we have a couple of minutes, we can do some Q&A. So what is activity notification? Activity notification is a native Teams experience that can be entered from the top left button, this little bell button. It is usually where the Teams users triage the action items that require their attention. You often see notifications from channel mention or chat mention, but do you also know that apps can also send notification into activity feed? You can actually use notification APIs in Microsoft Graph to extend this functionality. Activity feed provide very rich experiences, and it better engage users in Teams. So what are the APIs behind the scene? A Teams app can be installed for user, team, or chat, so our API also support the three contexts. You can send notification to all the users in the chat, you can send notification to all the users in the channel, or you can also send notification to a specific user. Additionally, you can send notification in bulk up to 100 users at a time using a bulk send API. So what the API looks like and what will be the UX looks like. Here's an example of sending notification to a user for a task created. Here you will call against our endpoint, which is send activity notification. And then you will give us a source URL, which allow us to deep link to your app in the right pane. So this loads up the richer experience, and it directly bring user from Teams into your app, so that improve the user engagement and retention there. You can specify the activity types in manifest. Here you can just refer to the same activity type here. We allow templated parameters, so you can replace the parameters in the manifest with runtime parameters like task ID or specific number or names. This preview will show up as 3 lines in the left rail. Okay, so now it's about the demo time, but before the demo, let's talk about what is RSC. RSC stands for Resource Specific Consent. It is a new type of authorization framework built in Microsoft Teams, and it allows users to grant scoped access to an app. So instead of allowing admin to do all the granting permission tasks, we now, using RSC application permission, we can now allow users to grant these permissions directly to the app. As you can see, we support we support all chat group and user scope permissions, and admin consent is no longer required when you use RSC application permission. We also support delegated and application as usual, but some of them may require admin consent before user can actually receive the notification. If you want to read more about RSC, click this link. It will bring you to an RSC overview. In addition to notification API, we support RSC for a lot more other APIs as well. We also have a blog post to talk about how you can use RSC with notification API, and you can access through ak.ms/napi RSC blog. Okay, now it's the demo time. Here's a demo of how platform apps can use RSC to send activity notification to users without the need of admin consent. This app is trying to send a notification to remind everyone in the team to pick up their swags. Previously, when RSC was not available, due to Apple's using application permission, the notification cannot be delivered to users unless admin manually grant this permission in AAD portal. Now that RSC is available, app can just declare this permission in manifest. Here's an example of adding user scope RSC. With user scope RSC enabled by default, users now have the control on whether they want to receive notification or not, so that admin consent is no longer the hurdle. This will encourage more apps to adopt activity notification, eventually will increase user engagement in these apps. Okay, so that's the end of this demo. As you can see, you can actually put RSC permission in your manifest, and that will allow your app to use RSC and send notification to the users. This will again remove the hurdle of admin consent and really allow apps to directly send notification to the users. So now we have seen the demo. You might think, should I use notification for my apps or not? So I want to show a couple of points of why you should, or in what cases you should thinking about using activity notification APIs. First, our APIs or activity experience is highly engaged. Comparing with chat or channel notifications, apps notification actually get 2 times more click rate. And then users are more likely to engage with collaborative requests. I have a couple of examples of what collaborative requests mean in my next few slides. Second is that we can improve your user retention for your app. Comparing with other apps, apps using notification APIs see a 50% higher user retention because users are often attracted by the notification and really forming the habit of coming back to the app regularly. Here are a couple of collaborative notifications as examples. We already have a lot of first-party apps using notification already, like Power BI, Word, PowerPoint, Viva Learning, assignments. You might already start to get these notifications in Teams. Power BI notify users about new report being shared with the user so that the user can just click on the notification and load the report directly in the right pane of Teams and view the report. Viva Engage send reminders about someone shared a new post. The someone can be someone you followed in Viva Engage. Collaboration requests are also very often. For example, in Word, your colleague shared a file with you. It is a collaboration request for you to check out the file, and you can just click on this notification and it loads the Word app and the documents on the right pane for you in Teams. PowerPoint send notification about someone mentioned you in the file. This is a very strong signal of your colleague request to collaborate with you, seeking your feedback, asking your questions. So with this one click, you can just directly reply to this question without jumping out of Teams app. We also have a lot of apps sending reminders to users. Everyone is busy nowadays, so we need reminders to show us something's due soon, like the training is due in 1 day, or your focus time is about to start, so get ready for that. Apps also send alerts to remind users about some failure activity or an urgent request from their colleagues, so that even if the user is using other apps outside the Teams, like sending an email in Outlook or working on some other decks in PPT, they can be notified with a OS system, OS notification, and then jump back into Teams to process these tasks. This is a pretty text-heavy slide, but advantage of activity notifications are like it is definitely a native Teams integration, and it can bring your app to the users more often. It comes with an OS notification in a desktop or mobile, so the user can be dinged with the notification. It is highly customizable. You can pass in runtime parameters to us. You can customize the content you send to the user. You can also pass us any deep link to show up in the right pane. It definitely increases your user app engagement, and we have seen a huge success data throughout the first-party and third-party apps using notifications. If you want to read more about activity notification, here's a link you can read more about it. And if you have questions or feedback, feel free to use the link to submit a form to me, and then I will make sure to send you the news about notifications or answer your questions and feedback. All right, thank you. I think we still have a couple of minutes for Q&A in case if there's any questions for me.
Yes, yeah, we do have a few minutes. Thank you, Luang. It's really, really cool. And it is and such a brilliant feature. Just love it. Also, first-party experience is good on that. I'm just quickly scanning through the chat. Not a massive amount of questions. You did a great job on presenting and a great demo as well. Yeah, there's a request for sharing the links and all of that. We'll definitely get them shared also as part of the recording, as part of the individual links. So that should be good. The challenge is that we cannot use PowerPoint Live because the embedded videos are not getting recorded in PowerPoint Live. So that's why we have to do screen sharing. But I don't see that many questions. I think we're good. Let's say a few more minutes time. This is awesome. Thank you, David, for collecting the form. That's now in the chat as well. We get it collected in the notes as well. Thank you, Luang. That was really, really cool. Awesome work on the demo as well. I will still screen and let's close up the call. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Luang. And sorry for my pronunciation. It's a Finnish thing. We cannot pronounce these things properly. Like Finnish is really hard to pronounce as well, so I guess it's fair. Now, the next community call next week on 24th of October. Did I get it right? It's 24th. I guess it's 24th. Yes, it is. We have Dan continuing his series related on OpenAI integration in Microsoft 365. That title is actually wrong because we did see creating an Azure Communication Services Resource today, so we missed that one. I'll update that obviously on communications, but we'll continue that journey with Dan. Then Anshu Mangar from the Viva Connection team is going to drop by and talk about the Viva Connection multiple dashboard feature, which is an awesome feature to create a role-based or organization-based dashboards within a Viva Connection. So we're able to target, for example, different dashboards per managers or organizations or divisions within your company. So really, really cool feature as well. And then Monica and Waldek is going to join us on and talk about bringing your external content to Microsoft 365 with Microsoft Graph connectors. That's going to be a really exciting one as well. Now, the calls are really cool, but also outside of the calls, you might have questions and chats, and you want to chat with other people in the community. We obviously have the LinkedIn option as well, but also we have a Discord server. I was just checking the numbers earlier today, and we're hitting 700 people in this Discord server. So it's growing actually rapidly, which is really, really cool. And more and more engagement and discussions between the people in the community. We try to be there as a Microsoft employees as much as possible, but as an example, last week I was traveling and I had a business travel travel, so I didn't have time to follow up on any questions there. But please check it out. Great way of engaging with the community in the Discord. We also always would be welcoming your feedback related on these calls. What are the things what you want to see? What are the suggestions on adjustments on the call? How was the content? How was the demos? Any other feedback? Please fill in the form and let us know how we are doing. This is a super important thing for us as well, so we're able to keep on doing these calls also in the future. So please fill in the form. Now, the recording of this call will be available within 24 hours at Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community YouTube channel and AKMS/community videos. And from there, you can find the different channels and the community channels available. You can also have see the updates in LinkedIn. Whenever the recordings are available, we'll update the LinkedIn, we update the socials, so you can easily stay up to date on that. Obviously, subscribing to the YouTube channel is the easiest way to stay up to date on what's happening there. The next call is on October 24th at 8 a.m. Pacific time, like typically every single Tuesday. And all of the community calls are from AKMS/community calls. For example, tomorrow we'll have the monthly Power Platform community call with 3 great community-driven demos. And on Thursday, we have additional demos on other areas as well. But that's it from our side. Thank you everybody for joining. Awesome engagement on the chat. Brilliant presentations and demos today again. Please keep the feedback coming related on a call, related on features, related on stuff that you're seeing from the Microsoft. We are building all of these experiences for you, so your input and feedback is critical for us. But thanks everybody, and let's stay in touch and stay safe. Cheers. Bye-bye.